All right, welcome back to episode two fans, 12 rings. Goodness gracious, I almost said two pods, but it's because we're doing two pods today. That's why I was
Yeah,
confused.
I didn't even
Back to
change my
back. I did change my clothes because this first team has me really inspired lately.
clothes.
Just excited, excited to talk football. As the reigning national champions. Nice to it's nice to win national championships.
Enjoy yourself.
Oh, I will. I'm continuing to. It's been a great one. It's been a great 2024 for me. I'm excited to talk about four new teams. Last episode, we talked Panthers, we talked Patriots, we talked Cardinals, and we talked Washington. So, a lot of good storylines there. If you haven't listened to that pod and you're on this one, go back, give it a listen, rate it 5 stars, all that stuff. Hope you guys are digging these. We're going to keep busting these out, these team previews. Brad, what'd you think of those last four teams?
Yeah, they're all dog shit. I mean, they're not going to be very good. I like the storylines. I like the storylines. I like that they're improving. I watch all teams in the NFL, so I like to see how my predictions pan out. They're not all dog shit. I'm just playing it. Washington Commanders, I think, could potentially be good. I think the Cardinals won't be as bad as last year because, of course, Kyler. But none of those teams are great.
Yeah, well, let's get into these next four. These are fun teams. These are super fun teams, I think. Here's the thing. The one great thing about the NFL is because it's become such a 365-day league, or at least a 300-day league. The team building aspect, everything, the talking points, who you've added, who you've lost, the storylines going into every season just make every team so much fun. This team is no different. The Los Angeles Chargers go 5-12 last year, kind of a disappointing season for them 1 year after blowing a massive playoff lead. And what do? But they go out and they hire the reigning national champion head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh. Bring Harbaugh into town. Harbaugh brings A plus staff with him over to LA. A lot of speculation that, is Harbaugh going to draft a bazillion Wolverines and trade Justin Herbert for J.J. McCarthy? No, he actually just does what he always does. He drafted O-linemen, kept Justin Herbert. I think there's a Wolverine or two in there, but for the most part, he's building his team to be tough, physical. Cuts a couple of offensive wide receivers that are being paid a lot. Gets a couple of his pass rushers to take pay cuts. Let's go Austin Eckler and just kind of rebuilds the offense and gets into a power football mode. I think the Chargers are very interesting. I don't know that they're winning like 12 games, but I do think they'll be better than a 5-win team. What do you got on the Chargers?
So in the draft, they take big boy Joe Alt off the board at number 5, get the big O lineman. Take Ladd McConkey, former national champion at Georgia. Junior Colson, current national champion from Michigan. They take a D tackle from Bama, corner from Maryland, Cam Hart, strong, sturdy corner from Notre Dame. They take a running back, which we'll get into what they did in the offseason with running back. Then they took 2 flyers on receiver, Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson, USC and Michigan. So you talk about Ladd McConkey, Brendan Rice, Cornelius Johnson, all good receivers in college football last year. And they add them to Joshua Palmer and DJ Chark, who we're going to get into it right now, was an addition. They also brought in Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, running backs from his brother. Linebacker Denzel Perriman, Christian Fuller, corner, Will Dissly, tight end, a center, DL, tight end. But they do lose Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, Eric Kendricks. They lose a lot of pieces. They will look different, but what does Jim Harbaugh do? He comes in, he establishes his culture first, builds his team. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. I mean, what a 1-2 punch at tackle. This team's going to hit you in the mouth. And go ahead and look up all the numbers you want. You can tell me your win-loss tells you who you are. Justin Herbert's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in this league, and I really don't really care to hear otherwise. If his team allows less than 28, he gets W's. So all these people who want to tell me, we'll have to see what he is when he wins. Everybody tells me he's good, but he loses. Watch him throw the ball. Watch him play offense. He's tremendous. So I'm always a big fan of the Chargers. Recently, I've been sucked in, but I've always pushed back. Anthony Lynn, what's his name? Brandon, the
Stanley.
head. Yeah, Brandon Staley. I've always said they're in over their skis. And you know who's just not in over their skis? Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So very excited to see what they do. Could they potentially trade a pass rusher for a wide receiver? But I look at these receivers: Josh Palmer, Ladd McConkey, DJ Chark, Brendan Rice, Cornelius Johnson. I don't really like Quentin Johnson from last year, but it's more than enough to make it work. Will Dissly, Hayden Hurst as tight ends. Again, their tackles, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt. They have a good interior lineman. Zion Johnson out of Boston College, I think 2 years ago, was a top 2-3 round pick. Love what they're doing. So I'm all in on the Chargers. I like them a lot. They still got to deal with the Chiefs. But big fan of the Chargers. Always will be as long as they have Justin Herbert, and especially while they have Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this is I mentioned this in the last pod. Just obviously New England's not great this year, and there's things that are kind of disappointing going into this season. I just have to live with. But the one thing I don't have to live with is I can choose to root for other things. J.J. McCarthy, Jim Harbaugh, Blake Corum, my son's Bengals. I do have a lot of intrigue storylines that I'll be looking at. Watching Tom Brady call football games this year, I'm excited for a lot of stuff. Let's if you don't have anything else, let's go ahead and tackle some schedule here.
Sure, we can jump right into it. Again, what was their win-loss last year, you said?
They were 5-12.
Yeah, they will not be doing that again.
Yeah. I do want to remind people, they don't have a ton of offensive talent. This is going to be a growing pain. But I do think that this is going to be a really good football team.
I honestly don't think so. I think with the coaching, we didn't even talk about Jesse Minter coming to the defensive side of the ball. I don't think there's going to be growing pains. I think this quarterback is ready. Josh Palmer's been in the system. I think Ladd McConkey is a superstar waiting to happen. Peep fantasy ratings, don't at me. But I'm just saying, I think that week 1, the Chargers host the Raiders.
Well, they're beating the Raiders.
Yep. But it starts to heat up week 2 when they travel to the Carolina Panthers.
Smacking them.
Really interesting game as they travel back-to-back road spots, stay on the East Coast, and go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a good game, I think. This is a great.
This is a fun game, but truthfully, they don't have the offensive talent to go into Pittsburgh from west to east and win this game. I'm going Pittsburgh.
It's also the Pittsburgh Steelers home opener on week 3. I like my Steelers here. They follow that up by going back home where they host the Kansas City Chiefs. They're splitting with the Chiefs this year.
W.
They're at home.
W.
Now, unfortunately for the Chargers, they're going into their bye week, week 5.
That is tough. But you know what? They're going to come into their bye week 3-1, and that's all right.
I have the same thing. Okay. Lockstep. Out of the bye at Denver Broncos.
That's a win.
I think so too. Hey, we talked a lot about bad teams in the previous pod and how the schedule is not favorable. I kind of like what's going on here a little bit for the Chargers schedule break too.
I'm seeing this already.
Now, they're on a back-to-back road trip, but it's an extended week to Monday night where they're playing the Cardinals.
We gave the Cardinals the loss here. I'm going to continue to do that.
5-1. They're back home where they host the New Orleans
I'm out.
Saints.
They've already reached their win total from last year.
Yes, they've already hit.
And they're passing it because they're beating the Saints.
I agree. 6-1.
Wow,
Now,
unreal.
Now here's where the schedule picks up. November will be a telling month. They have 4 games in November. Here we go. At the Cleveland Browns. I think that's a loss.
I think they go back into Ohio and give it to them. Jim.
Okay.
Another dub.
Now, I said November's tough, but now they have 3 straight home games. They host the Titans. Remember, this is Titans, no Derrick Henry.
I know, but I'm not trying to give them the loss. I'm trying to give them the win.
I know, but I'm not going to. Chargers win.
No, I have same. I have them at 9-1. No, I have them at 8-1.
Yeah, I have them at 7-2. I had them losing to the Browns, but then they host the Cincinnati Bengals.
They will lose that game.
Give them a loss. Then it's a Monday night game at home, but it's Bengals followed by the Ravens. So that 4-game stretch is Browns, Titans, Bengals, Ravens. Yeah, it's the Harbaughs on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a loss again, back-to-back losses to the AFC North.
Same.
Matter of fact, he went 1-3 against the AFC North.
So this is where a lot of people are going to be like, the Chargers are much better, but when they face good teams, they can't answer up to
1,000%. You're right. That's the storyline right now.
So now December starts. December 1st at the Falcons.
They're going to win again.
I think
because they beat the average teams.
They follow that up back-to-back road spot at the Chiefs. They lose.
They're going to lose that one because they have them winning the Chiefs already.
So
now they're 1-3 in their last 3, so that's tough.
Then it's a back-to-back home spot. This is their final 4 games where I think they make a heavy push. Home against the Buccaneers.
They're going to win that one.
I think so, too. They're then home against the Broncos. I think they win.
They're sweeping the Broncos. I think they're just way better.
December 29th, they then go to the New England Patriots.
Yeah, they're beating the Patriots.
And
Though we have played Justin Herbert better than literally anyone in the league, but we're losing.
And then their back-to-back road spots, they finish at the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, they're sweeping the Raiders, I think.
I have them flipping their schedule, going 5-12 to 12-5.
I have 13 wins.
Are we supposed to do that? Just flip their win-loss like that? But you look at if you were to we did this last year. I'm ashamed we didn't do it this year, but we're not doing divisions. But like head coach quarterback combo. A lot of people just bet solely off of that. Who's your head coach and your quarterback? And we would die on both hills for Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. It's like Joe Burrow may be a better quarterback, but I like Jim Harbaugh better. Like Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, but like Josh Allen, Sean McDermott. I like Jim Harbaugh, even though I may like Josh Allen. Like, even if you like Jalen Hurts over Herbert, if you're that kind of guy, you'd have to like Jim over Nick Sirianni, because Sirianni, since his OC left, has struggled. Like Russell Wilson, Mike Tomlin, people don't believe in maybe even either of those guys as better. It's like, if you're going just head coach quarterback, okay, Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Kyle Shanahan, this is a top 5. I think I could stand on that without looking too far into it. This is a top 6 or top 7. Let's put it there. Top 7 head coach quarterback combo. 12-5. I mean, they play the NFC South. They play their own division, but then they play the AFC North, which is obviously tough.
What's their over/under? I'm going to guess 10.5. It's probably way too low.
It's 8.5. They could go 9-8 and hit their over.
That's a lock.
Putting it down right now.
Yeah. My third lock of 2024. Chargers over wins. Over 8.5 wins.
You're telling me Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert just have to have a winning record?
With what I think will be an improved defense.
Jim Harbaugh's your head coach. Justin Herbert's your quarterback. And you have the best tackles in the NFL in terms of left.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna say second. Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson of the Eagles. They're probably number one. Joe Alt's still a rookie.
You have a top 5 tackle combination in the league.
Not top. Top 5 is an easy way to put it, but top
Lions
5,
is really good. 49ers is really good. We have a top 5 one.
And yes, the defense. You have 2 pass rushers. You drafted and added middle linebackers. You still have Derwin James, and you have Asante Samuel Jr. on the back end. Your schedule is pretty favorable. When you get your toughest 4-game stretch, 3 of them are at home.
I think I'm too high with 13.
Early bye could hurt.
I like him more at 11, but I like him on the over.
Dude, again, Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert. You just have to go 9-8 to hit the over. What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
What are we even talking about? But I know a lot of you guys, if you're loyal listeners or if you're not even, there's a lot of these people. Chargers always let people down. It's nonsense. Justin Herbert is not what people say he is. And if you're that person, fine, go bet under 8.5. Or you just, I don't know. I think this team is tremendous. They're going to pound the rock. Gus Johnson, he's only had 1 injury, but he's been an absolute monster at the running back position when he played for the Ravens. I do worry about their running back depth. I wish they had one more guy, but if JK's been hurt every year, so I don't know if I can trust that.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, Joshua Palmer. Joshua Palmer's nice. DJ Chark had a few good years with the Lions with, I think it was Matt Stafford. Then he's kind of been a journeyman, went to the Jaguars, popped off here and there. I think he might find a spot here in LA. Cornelius Johnson, I know people would say he didn't do that great at Michigan, but like, could it be another Nico Collins where they just didn't throw in that system? Well, you'd say, well, Jim Harbaugh is still the coach. Justin Herbert. Like, I don't know. I think we're always going to die on this Charger. So I'm waiting for the year we say they're going to be 7-10. You know what I mean? We always just love the Chargers. To win the division, plus 350. Make the playoffs, plus 118. Miss, minus 144. Super Bowl, plus 4,000.
To make it or win it?
To win the Super Bowls, plus 4,000. So $10 would win you 400 on the Chargers.
Yeah. Ready for them Giants?
Yep, I'm just flipping through my notebook to get to them. This notebook, I use it for more than just breakdowns. I use it for betting. So I have all the teams kind of in different situations with 5 pages to go through the year and add notes and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm there, though. I got it now. New York Giants.
Okay. New York Giants went 6-11 last year. Daniel Jones gets hurt, right?
He was banged up all year.
Yeah.
Out, and then he stopped playing.
And they lose Saquon Barkley in the offseason, kind of a new look team. Have the third, fourth, fifth overall, sixth overall pick in select league neighbors. go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, they take a tremendous safety from Minnesota, Tyler Nubin. Corner, Andrew Phillips. Andrew spelled Andru. Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky. And Theo Johnson, tight end from Penn State. Add a running back and linebacker later in the draft. Some of their additions, they add Brian Burns, defensive end, Drew Lock, Devin Singletary, wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, who's kind of nice in the slot, and DB Jalen Mills, good slot corner. They do lose safety Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, Tyrod Taylor, and their second best D tackle. Looking at their depth chart, I think it starts up front in their front seven. Dexter Lawrence, monster D tackle in the middle. You've got Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think that is a tremendous front seven. On the back end, you have Deontay Banks, Tyler Nubin, who's a rookie. Other corner, Cordell Flott, I think is how you say that name. Jalen Mills will be floating around. We talked about him as an addition. The O-line does improve. They have John Runyon, Evan Neal, Andrew Thomas. If they can just stay a little bit healthy. They do lose Darren Waller to retirement. That wasn't on the list I just read. They pick up Allen Robinson to go with Isaiah McKenzie in terms of veterans in the room. Wan'Dale Robinson was an up-and-comer last year. Started to do well. Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Isaiah Hodges. They have like 5 young guys and 2 veterans, all who are like C+ to B+ guys. Maybe Malik Neighbors can be more. But the problem is they're trigger man's ass, and they're overpaying him. So it's like, how do you get around that? Do you go with Drew Lock? Can Daniel Jones be better than he's ever been? I know that Brian Daboll got them to the playoffs, but I also think that year Daniel Jones had like 15 touchdowns passes. Like in this league, you got to do more, especially in their division. Commanders stocks up. Cowboys 3 straight 12-5 seasons. Eagles have a Super Bowl appearance in the last 3 years, and they've been in the playoffs every year. With the division they're in, I just think they have to be better than anything they've been, and I don't see how they can be.
Yeah, you let your best player walk in free agency, and you do pick up what a lot of people believe to be, some people believe is the best wide receiver in the draft in Malik Neighbors, and he could be an absolute game-changing talent, kind of like Odell was for them a couple years ago. But like you said, the guy throwing the ball is not very great. And what's their game plan to get to the playoffs? So it'll be interesting. I'm not very high on this team. I think they're the 4th best team in the NFC North. NFC East, my apologies, the NFC East. But this team hasn't been very good in several years. I don't see much changing. I think it's a bottom barrel team. They'll fluctuate somewhere between 1 to 7 wins. Call it where you want it.
In the previous pod, Jeff made a comment. I think it was off the cuff, and I understand it, but he said that there's an argument, and he could at least fathom any team getting to 10 wins other than the Panthers. And it was just the Giants is all I could think about. And we're here now. Maybe you changed
real
that.
Quick. If I told you Malik Neighbors was a top 5 receiver in this league, and Hyatt comes out and he ends up being a top 30 receiver in this league, like they all of a sudden have 2 great ones, and Brian Daboll returns to form from 2 years ago, and Daniel Jones is good, you couldn't see them winning 10 games?
Well,
with that pass rush?
I don't think it could happen only because of the trigger man.
But you've seen him be decent.
Right, but even in terms of when you said fathom winning 10 games.
They won 10 games 2 years ago.
Because Saquon Barkley had like a.
I understand, but last year they only won 6 without Daniel Jones. They still had Saquon, pal.
I just can't. I'm just saying I can't fathom them winning 10 wins.
I'm not advocating for Daniel Jones.
I know
I did make a blanket statement, but I wouldn't be shocked to see the New York Giants win 10. I don't think.
I look at the Giants division, and they play the AFC North. I don't know what NFC division they play. It's like they play the AFC North, and I think they're the worst team in their division. That right there is 10 games. Like, I'm not saying they're going to lose all of them. I'm just saying that's 10 games right there, and forget about who else they still have to play. So
Do you think they have the best defensive line in all of football?
Not line, but I think they have a top 8 front 7.
Top 8?
Yeah.
You're being nice.
What do you mean?
You're being mean.
Really?
I think they're top 5, top 3.
Well, I look at you got the 49ers. I like
They have a better defensive line than the 49ers.
I'm talking about front 7. Linebackers included Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, Nick
Yeah,
Bosa.
maybe not. You're okay. I'll give you the Niners.
I personally think the Steelers, Patrick Queen, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Alex Highsmith.
So, okay, when you start to pair in linebackers, they definitely fall down the list. If we're just talking D-line, I think they're a top 3 or 4 unit.
I am advocating for their front 7. I think they have a good defense. Shall we get into their schedule? We'll just get right after it.
Yeah, because I'm coming off as a Giant backer, and I'm not. I'm not at all.
I know you're not. I know you're just saying that if they somehow got 10 wins, it would be against the odds 100%. But like, yeah, I guess I can find the route. But like, I could say Bryce Young plays like a number 1 pick.
I can't see that. I can't envision it. I'm struggling with that. That's what I'm saying.
You saw the interview with Daniel Jones with his eyes wide. He can't play. If Daniel Jones goes down, Drew Lock's the starter week 3 rest of the year. I guess I could see that.
He's better than Drew Lock.
All right.
He is.
All right. What were they last year? 5 wins, you said?
They were 6, and how many were Daniel Jones part of? Probably 5.
Yeah, I can't stay on the field. I don't even know how we evaluate the guy.
I'm coming off as a Giants defender.
I'm normally the Giants guy. Like,
I am not a Giants defender.
Schedules, I don't know. We'll see. They host the Vikings week 1.
Vikings W says a loss.
Giants win. Giants win. Week 2 at the Commanders.
Loss.
Week 3 at the Browns.
Loss.
Week 4 Thursday night they host the Cowboys.
Loss.
Week 5 at Seattle.
Loss.
Win. Week 6 they host the Bengals. That's a Sunday night game. Sunday night? Bengals Giants.
Thank God we get to see Burrow because the other side of that's trash.
The next week they host back-to-back home games. They host the Eagles.
Loss.
Then they're Monday night at the Steelers.
Loss. Holy cow, this is brutal.
Then they're home against the Commanders.
Loss again.
I think I had them beating the Commanders. So I'm gonna have them split.
I'm gonna sound. Everybody's probably listening to this and they're like, Jeff is trying to tell us that he could envision them being a 10-win team. They're only 9.
I got them at 2-7. Then it's the Germany game versus Carolina.
That's a win.
Their first wins in Germany. You got 1-8 Carolina versus 0-9 Giants coming into Germany. All right.
These are actually the 2 teams that I had as the worst 2 teams in the league.
All right,
worse than New England.
I have them at 3-7 through 10 weeks going into the bye. Where are you at? 1-9.
1-9.
Okay, they
week
come
11's the bye.
Yep, they come out of the bye. They host the Buccaneers.
Loss. You know what?
Uh-oh.
I'm actually going to give them the win. Defensive, they're coming off a win, coming off a bye, and then they're going to play a team that's kind of had some O-line revampage. Giants defensive line. Yeah, I'm going to give them a win.
I have it as a win, too. Then it's short week. Oh, it's not necessarily well, it is a short week for Thursday, but they're a Thanksgiving game. 4:30, they're at the Cowboys. Everyone watches them get destroyed.
Yeah, CD's going for 250.
Then long week, they host the Saints.
Win. Derek Carr outside. I like them in a win there.
Back-to-back home games, the Ravens. Loss.
Sorry, repeat the teams.
Oh, I said back-to-back. They played the Saints at home. Now it's the Ravens. It's a back-to-back home spot, like Saints then Ravens.
Sorry.
You're good.
Lost to the Ravens, but they're beating the Saints there. So in their last 5 games, I have them at 3-2 with the bye in there too. So they've gotten a little bit better, but still losing games.
Week 16, 3 games left. They're at the Falcons.
It's a loss.
Then they are home against the Colts. They're an all-running team facing that front seven.
Loss.
They're at home. I'm going to have them beat the Colts here. And then at Philadelphia.
Philly's benching starters. I'm gonna give the Giants their 4th win of the year.
So what do you have them at?
I have them at 4-13.
I have them repeating at 6-11.
Yeah, there was probably 1 or 2 I could maybe somehow muscle out for them, but I don't like them. Over under 5.5.
6.5. I'm not going to lock this one in. I have them just half a game under. Win the division 1,400, Super Bowl 15,000, make the playoffs plus 430 to miss the playoffs minus 620.
You ready for one of the more interesting teams in the league?
Yep. Go ahead and start us off while I'm getting everything pulled up.
I can't wait to talk about this team. There's a lot going on here.
I already got it all.
The Tennessee Titans last year went 6-11 in a really underachieving year where they unfortunately let go of a really good head coach in Mike Vrabel. But they go on and get Brian Wisenhunt. Is that his name?
I think it's no.
Brian Callahan. He was the offensive coordinator for the Bengals. Okay. They let one of the greatest Titans of all time, the King, Derrick Henry, walk to free agency, but they immediately signed Tony Pollard, which is fun. Last year before the season, they had brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They're still trying to bring Treylon Burks around. They go out and they sign Calvin Ridley to a monster deal kind of out of nowhere. And they bring in a third receiver for Will Levis, who probably has the biggest guns of all the quarterbacks in the league, because he cares about that stuff. I think this is a very intriguing team. They have not one, but 2 offensive tackles that they really like. They drafted one last year. They drafted another this year. You're going to take it away. Go ahead.
Yeah, J.C. Latham. They get the big boy from Texas, Tavondre Sweat, to go next to Jeffrey Simmons. Cedric Gray, a linebacker from North Carolina. They get some other pieces late. Not only did they add Tavondre Sweat next to Jeffrey Simmons, they add Chidobe Awuzie, which is one of the corners from the Bengals, who was a starter the last 3 or 4 years. And they are the team that paid L'Jarius Sneed when the Chiefs wouldn't. So they got 2 starting corners, 2 big men up front. They add Calvin Ridley to go with DeAndre Hopkins. They've got some pieces. Treylon Burks now can be the 3rd guy. Lloyd Cushenberry, the 3rd, one of the best names out there. Center from Denver, was pretty good. Got let go for money reasons. He's now on the offensive line to go with the 2 tackles Jeff mentioned. Losses. After Derrick Henry, they did lose Sean Murphy-Bunting. They lost another corner, I'm not sure. Safety Terrell Edmonds, he's floated around the league. They got better at corner. They got better at D-line. They got better at O-line. They got better at receiver. It is simply, do you believe in Will Levis? or do you not? Are they a better coach team overall? I'd be hard-pressed to say yes. Mike Vrabel's him. But offensively, what can they do? I think it could be kind of special. Tony Pollard gets added to a running back room with who is the other guy?
It is Tajon Spears, I believe.
Tajee Spears, that's his name.
Tajee Spears.
And Hassan Haskins, the Michigan man from a few years ago.
Yes.
Chig Okonkwo. I don't know how to say his whole first name, so we're just going to keep it with Chig. He's on the team at tight end. He's not a bad pickup. Arden Key, one of their outside linebackers, he's actually been well. Remember, Harold Landry had the 16-sack season, was injured, played a little bit last year. He's fully back now. I think this team could really throw a wrench into the AFC South. Everyone's like, Trevor Lawrence ain't it, hasn't shown it. We love CJ Stroud, it's the Texans, but the Colts, they could throw a wrinkle into this thing. And the Titans are just sitting here with, honestly, a really good roster. Like, and I hate that. I know we both hate that as it's come up with some of these other teams were like, they're beating the Titans, but like, maybe they're not. Like, if I go through the schedule, I might overlap because this Titans team is not bad at all. Again, depends on how you believe in the quarterback.
The one comment I think could be very interesting for specifically this team and kind of a pattern moving forward in today's NFL is it more important to have a great coach or a good play caller? Because there ain't no way that they upgraded at coach, but they might have upgraded enough at play caller that makes them better. They went out and got enough pieces. This is a team that still regretted trading A.J. Brown, and they've somehow lost so many pieces, traded away so many pieces, and yet this feels like this might be their best roster they've had in a couple of years. Does it all pan out? Is Will Levis good? All those questions are to still be seen. I'm hammering the over 6. We'll see where they ran.
Is that
6
what
and
they
11
were?
last year? They feel much improved. This was like the one division I'm almost upset we didn't do division breakdowns for, only for this division, because I do think everybody is hitting the table for the Texans, and there are 3 teams that have legit arguments right behind them. I understand the Texans did what they did, but everybody else got better.
I think before looking at schedules, there's a chance that every team finishes with somewhere between 8 to 11 wins. Like, they're all there. The worst team in the division, the first team, by week 14, they could catch each other. That's how
if you get on FanDuel and you predict the actual standings, I wonder if it pays out astronomical, because it's literally going to be all over the place.
We're going to see here. Week 1, they're at Chicago. Again, Jeffrey Simmons, Tavondre Sweat, L'Jarius Sneed versus a rookie quarterback. I kind of like the Titans to get a W here on the road in week 1.
I do too. A lot of it just has to do with rookie quarterbacks.
We're all tuning in at 1.
It's really tough.
We're all tuning into this game. At least I am.
And give me L'Jarius Sneed over there on Keenan Allen, and we'll play the rest how it goes. I just think that the Titans are going to be able to play a lot of people uncomfortable football.
Yeah, and the Bears like their tackles. The middle of that D-line is pressure right in Caleb Williams' face. We'll see how it goes. Week 2, they host Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets, traveling from San Francisco.
This is smash mouth football. I like the Tennessee Titans here in week 2.
I like the veteran quarterback here. I'm going to give him a loss.
We didn't talk about this because I actually had New England beating the Jets in week 3. And you had kind of you had said this in the last one. I don't want to talk about the Jets here, but the Jets do start Niners, Titans, Patriots. Patriots obviously being their easiest opponent, but it's been kind of in their kryptonite. Jets could start 0-3.
Good.
Oh, and the team after you play the Niners, you lose. They play the Titans after the Niners. I'm giving the Titans a win.
Week 3, they host Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love.
Yeah. I thought Jordan Love was pretty good last year, but everybody is jumping on this train like he's a top 10 quarterback, and I'm a little confused. I thought I watched a fair amount of Packer games last year. Maybe I didn't, but Packers win this, but it's close. These two teams are pretty close.
I like the overall roster of the Packers. It's not just the quarterback here. I just think the Packers can get it done. Week 4, Monday Night Football. The timing of it looks like there may be a doubleheader Week 4 on Monday night. I don't know. But
there's a doubleheader every other week, I believe, for 6 weeks.
Okay, yeah. So they're the first game on Monday night. Titans at Miami. I like Miami.
I do too, but this is a fun game.
Miami at home in that heat, still in September.
I really like this game, though. This is fun. Can't wait to watch that one.
Titans are another team with the early bye week.
So week 5?
Week 5 bye. They come out of the bye. Now, again, they do not have another primetime game, and only one game is at 4 o'clock the rest of the way. It's all 1 o'clock games the rest of the way. 1 o'clock at home against the Colts. They're coming out of a bye. I think they're gonna split with the Colts, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give them the win here coming out of the bye at home.
Yeah, this does make sense because I agree with the split. I think they're gonna everybody's gonna beat up on each other. But coming off 2 straight losses, recoup after a bye, at home division. Give me the home team.
Same. They then have back-to-back road spot. Bills, Lions. I think that's 2 L's.
It is. That's really tough for them because they're probably a better team than what their record would be at that point because they would be 3-4.
They then host the New England Patriots.
I gave them the win earlier, not the Patriots. The Titans. I'm going to stick with that. I like the Titans here.
They then go back on the road to play the Chargers.
Yeah, this is a loss. They're trying to stick above 500. They're going to dip right below it again.
I have them at 3-6, unfortunately.
Damn.
They're going to host the Vikings the following week. By the way, that at Chargers is the 4 o'clock game. The rest are 1. Host the Vikings. I think they get the W there.
I disagree. I have a feeling you're down on the Vikings.
I am down on the Vikings.
I can tell.
I think they're one of the top 3 locks to be 4th place in their division. We'll get to the Vikings later.
I have them losing, by the way.
Yep. Okay. Same. At number 12, or week 12, excuse me, they're at the Houston Texans. I think they lose.
They need this one. I'm going to give them the win.
Back-to-back road spot. After Houston, they go to the Commanders.
Who did I have win that one? What week is that? Week 13?
Yep.
I had the Commanders win. I don't like it, but I'm going to leave it that way.
I'm going to keep it there, too. Week 14, they host Jacksonville. I think they win that game.
I also think they beat the Jags. So they're right now, as of right now, and I just know how this is going to go. They are 3-0 in division, but they still have 3 more division games, correct? Yeah, so they're sitting pretty division-wise. Yeah. They're going to hold a lot of tiebreakers, how I have it.
You have them 3-0 in division? I have them losing at the Texans. You had them winning that game?
I had them beating the Texans, yeah. Okay. They're 3-0 in division.
So week 15, they host the Bengals.
Interesting. The play caller, the head coach, obviously
I think they beat the Bengals. I think this is an upset.
You know what?
I think the Bengals have weak corners. I think Will Levis could pop off for 3-4 tutties against the Bengals in an absolute shootout in a game. Everybody was like, when did that
game?
Huh?
Where's this game?
Tennessee, December 15th.
Yeah, and I think Snead has played Jamar Chase pretty well. You know what? I agree. I'm giving them the win, too.
Now, their last 3 games are all divisional. They're at the Colts. I said they would split. I had them beating the Colts earlier. They're going to lose this one.
I'm going to have them win another one against the Colts. I am not 100% sure that Anthony Richardson makes it through the season. I think that really...
Like Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco, we're not even talking about him right now. I just don't. I do think that the Colts are probably fourth place, but like a really good fourth place team.
They follow that up with back-to-back road spots at Jacksonville.
It's a loss and then a loss at Houston to end the season as well.
They host Houston at the end.
Yeah, but they're still losing.
Damn. I was hoping I'd have them better.
I have them at 8 wins. I think that's plenty good.
I have them repeating at 6-11.
They're better than 6 wins. They got to be.
All right. I mean, I don't know.
But because you have them at 6, I have them at 8. Vegas has them at 7.5.
6.5.
I like the over.
Yes, you do. I don't know if you're locking that puppy in, but
I'm not. There's way too many variables in this with the AFC South, with Will Levis, with the coaching. I don't love the Titans. I like the Titans. I think they're interesting. I think they could shock the league and win 11 or 12 games. That's how talented they are. But it also wouldn't shock me to see them win 5 or 6, like you just pointed out, based off things not going their way.
yeah.
Think of it this way. Forget who the quarterback is. Offensive coach, good running game, good offensive line, good weapons, good defense.
I know.
You typically would make that a playoff team.
I know it's tough. It's tough.
I think Lil Levis could be Tua.
I didn't say I liked it. Okay, I didn't say I was happy with my decision. It's just how it turned out.
This next team, obviously, we both had as a very, very highly picked team to start the year. We kind of regressed them both. Are we ready?
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons went 7-10 last year. Kind of an up and down year, quarterback play, not knowing what to do with Bijan. There was a game where he barely played, even though he wasn't listed as hurt or sick, or kind of a weird season for them. But they go out and they tamper and get Kirk Cousins and take it away from there.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I turned $450 into $360 betting Michael Penix to go 8. That was really cool on draft night. One of the coolest bets I've ever hit. They take Michael Penix, quarterback, at number 8. They take
real quick. I want you to relive that night for a second. How was that crowd when Michael Penix went 8? Obviously, you hit a bet, so you have two feelings. A, shocked, because I don't think you thought he was going there, right? Or did you kind of?
So what happened is in all my mocks, I had the Patriots trading back and then trading up to 8 for Michael Penix. So when the 8th pick, you guys were kind of up in the crowd. I kind of faded back, and I'm kind of talking to random people, and like it's like number 8, and I'm like just watch the screen. Boom, Michael Penix comes up, and you just hear like the wind get sucked out. Everyone's just a massive sea of people in front of me. Just what? Like just complete mind boggle, and I'm like, holy crap! I can't believe with I bet Penix to go number 8. You know, like it didn't even click because once I saw the Falcons, when it said pick is in, that it just left my mind. Like it was a $4 bet to try and win like over $300. But you know, I do my mock drafts. Y'all can win some money. Why don't you just listen to me every once in a while?
It was a very unique situation because every year during the draft, I always do this. I'm a nerd. I get on Twitter and I try to find the person that's tweeting the picks before they happen. Well, I'm calling the picks out 30 seconds to a minute before they're selected. And Chuck, shout out Chuck, he's getting annoyed with me. He's like, Jeff, can we just be present? He's like, stop telling us the picks. So finally, the Michael Penix pick was the first one I hadn't announced. So I truly was in the moment, and I thought it was defense, and then I was like, oh, this could
Dallas Turner, right? It's coming, Dallas Turner.
Well, then I had shifted. I was like, wide receiver here. They're going wide receiver. They're going all in on for Kirk. They're going all in. And it's just like Michael Penix Jr. People are grabbing each other in the crowd. Like, what?
And it's funny, too, because you think about, like, the majority of people there. It's, of course, all other 31 team fans, too. And then, like, Detroit, like, no one gives a shit about the Falcons. So it almost turned into just, like, comedy. Everyone just thought it was, like, the funniest thing. Like, everyone's like, dude, Michael, what the fuck? They're straight. You know, everybody's just agreeing the Falcons suck and are stupid and just, like, no analysis, just first thoughts. Everyone was just ripping them.
The one true thing is when you're watching a draft and you watch a team trade or take somebody that they don't need, that helps your team. You know what I mean? It helps your team. A little bit. That team took somebody they don't need.
But a 34-year-old quarterback coming off Achilles injury, and after 2 years you're paying him dirt cheap, and now you have Michael Penix for the future. I think they could have made a different pick, but I can't criticize yet because Michael Penix is a beautiful thrower of the ball. And if they don't think they're ever going to get a chance for a top quarterback again, we'll just have to see how this plays out. But it was funny in the moment. Yeah. And then later they took a D tackle, Rook Ororo, however you say his name, from Clemson. Braylon Trice, edge from Washington. They had quite a few picks. They went, people said they should have went, front seven is their need. They should have done that. Dallas Turner. Well, their next 3 picks were D tackle, edge, D tackle, and then linebacker from Notre Dame. And they got another D tackle in the 6th from Georgia. So they tried to attack that position. They also acquired, obviously, Kirk Cousins. They got Darnell Mooney and Rondale Moore to go with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They have Bijan and Tyler Algier. They have a tremendously versatile offense and a unanimously top 5 offensive line. They lose Desmond Ridder, Cordell Patterson, Jonnu Smith, Jeff Okudah. I can't imagine anyone feels like they lost anything when I list those 4 names.
It seems like they were all players from 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Their secondary still is Jesse Bates and A.J. Terrell. Their front 7 is going to be a lot of new look, but they're going to be rolling deep with no stud unless one appears out of nowhere. But they're just going to be constantly rested coming forward.
They do have Grady Jarrett.
They do have Grady Jarrett. He's getting up there in age. And like I said, the second-round pick, Rook Ororo, is a monster inside. But we'll see if anybody can emerge as that, 10-plus sack guy on the season. Kyle Pitts, we'll see if they use him like a wide receiver. Again, Ray McLeod, Rondale Moore, Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Kirk Cousins pulling the trigger. I think anyone would say that they got better. Does that mean they're a deep tournament threat in the playoffs? That's yet to be determined, but I think people fear Kirk Cousins more than Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
1,000% right. Yeah, I don't really have a ton more to add. I am excited about the Falcons. I think they upgraded at quarterback substantially in 2 different ways. And I'll defend the Michael Penix pick because, A, having Kirk Cousins on your team makes you believe that you're at least a 9 to 10 win team. You're not going to be picking inside the top 10 again. And second is you were a quarterback away last year from being a really good team and winning your division. And you got a quarterback that has an Achilles injury. You're terrified of being bad again. I'm okay with the quarterback pick. I truly am. It sucks that Penix isn't going to play for 2 years, minimum, because they have to pay Kirk Cousins these next 2 years, and then they could potentially get out of it going into year 3.
The only way, I think.
Yeah. So.
Or they're 0-7, and they just have to abandon ship. But yeah,
there's no way Kirk Cousins brings you to 0-7. There's
exactly. It would have to be catastrophic injury, or somehow Kirk has 7 interceptions in 6 games, and they're 0-6.
Yeah, if he truly is just cooked from the injury, then I guess. But I just don't see that.
Me neither. What were they last year?
They were 7-10, and they had bad quarterback play.
Should be
they had a tight end that we talked about but never seen.
Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts. They didn't really do much. But again, Desmond Ridder, they were in a lot of games and then threw him away. Arthur Smith, 7-10, 3 straight years. I think he was 7 wins without quarterback help. Now, he's not there anymore. But
I think I watched at least one Falcon game because that was the Toy Story game.
Oh yeah,
remember?
I do.
Desmond was so bad in that game.
It was turnovers too. Desmond would drop back and throw a good ball, and he would move the ball down the field, 3 first downs. But it's like if I was playing Desmond Ridder in Madden per se, it's like just run cover 2 and cover 3, give him yards. Eventually, he's going to give you the ball. It's like if Desmond Ridder had to go more than 10 plays on a drive, he was just going to give the other team a chance to have the ball. Fumbling it out of the end zone, throwing it to him, he just couldn't help the turnovers.
Yeah.
You ready for their schedule?
Let's hit it.
Okay, week 1 at home, Mercedes-Benz. 2 30-year-old plus quarterbacks on new teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith revenge game.
Yeah, I just like the Falcons here. I do think Pittsburgh's going to be pretty good, but not week 1 in that place with Kirk. I really am excited for what the Falcons are with Mooney and Pitts and those guys kind of coming into their own. Drake London was fine last year. He was their best piece. And then obviously Bijan. I like the Falcons week 1.
Yeah, I'm obviously a homer. I like the Drake London versus Joey Porter Jr. I like George Pickens versus A.J. Terrell. Those are fun matchups on the perimeter. That Falcons O-line versus the Steelers D-line, the 2 new quarterbacks. I think this is a tremendously fun 1 o'clock game for a neutral perspective. Can go either way. I'm going to take my Steelers. Sue me. They're going to need that win early because week 2, Kirk Cousins can't get away from it. Monday night at the Philadelphia Eagles.
And beats them.
No.
Yeah, they're beating the Eagles.
All right. They're 0-2. You got them 2-0. I can see how this is going to go. They then come back home to face the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're definitely losing against the Chiefs. I am interested in what the Chiefs are. I'm not predicting a downfall, but I do wonder how their season looks. They'll be right there at the end. I do wonder how their season looks this time because they've been really good. They've been kind of bad, and then they've been like kind of average. I just wonder how this one looks.
I have the Falcons 0-3, but just a quick glance at the schedule, I don't think it's going to last too long. 0-3, lots of questions. You can't get away from them on podcasts and television. Week 4, they're at home again. Back-to-back home games. They're home against the Chiefs. Now they're home against the New Orleans Saints. I think they win.
I do too.
They're then home against the Bucks on Thursday Night Football. I think they win.
It's not a far travel, but I do think they're better than the Bucks. I do think that the home team always has a Thursday night advantage. Divisional game. I just think the better quarterback and better weapons are going to win here.
Falcons?
Yeah.
By the way, week 2, Eagles, Monday night. Week 3, Chiefs, Sunday night. Week 5, Buccaneers, Thursday night.
They like the Falcons. We're
going to see the Falcons 3 times in prime time in the first 5 weeks. I have them.
They're going to win. They're going to win 2 of them.
You have them 4-1?
Yeah.
I have them 2-3. After that, it's a long week, but then they're at the Panthers. I like them to win.
Yeah, they're going to be 3-0 in division, 5-1 on the season. Their 1 loss is to the Super Bowl champs. I think people are going to like them.
Then they host Seattle.
Seattle, west to east. That's tough. Give me what time's that game?
1 o'clock.
All day.
Falcons, yeah.
Falcons.
So I had the Falcons 0-3, and then ripping off 4 straight. I have them 4-3. After Seattle, they're now at Tampa Bay.
I think this does feel like a revenge game. Tampa has to be buckled down, and a team that's 7-1, or I'm sorry, 6-1. They can afford to overlook them. I like Tampa.
I'm going to reverse that. I have them splitting with Tampa. So, okay. After that, they're back home against the Dallas Cowboys.
That's a loss to the Cowboys. I still think are a really good team. Too many people are out on them. Regular season Cowboys are as good as anybody. Playoffs we'll talk other time, but regular season they're as good as any team in this league.
Week 10 and 11 at New Orleans, then at Denver. I think they win. I think they lose at New Orleans, win at Denver.
I have that I have that flopped. I have them winning at New Orleans and losing at Denver. I don't think Denver's going to lose every single one of their games. They are unique. This is a weird spot for Kirk. What time's that game at?
1 for New Orleans and then 4 o'clock for Denver.
Yeah, I'm going to take Denver.
Okay. Then they have, it seems like a long bye week, but their bye week is week 12.
That's nice. It's a good bye week.
They come out of the bye week and host the Chargers.
Loss.
I like them to win that game out of the bye.
Here's the problem, though, now. I have them starting 6-1. Since that time, loss, win, loss. They're 1-4 with a bye week in there. They got to turn some things around.
What's your record through 12 games, 13 weeks?
7-5.
I have them 6-6. So we're right there.
Yeah.
Then they're at the Vikings.
That's a loss. Kirk Cousins going back home. Vikings give them the business.
W. So we both have them 7-6.
Yeah.
Back-to-back road spot, but it's a long week. Monday night in the Las Vegas.
Win.
Same. Then they're back home against the Giants.
Win.
Then they're at the Commanders. Win. In a little hot streak.
I also had that as a win earlier. I'm going to give that a win now.
And then they finish home against Carolina. Win. They rip off 4 straight wins to end the season. I have them at 11-6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-6. We are dead on our first match in 8 teams.
Our first match in 8 teams. And it was totally different how we got there. But
And the over-under is, I'm guessing, 10.5.
it is 9.5.
Interesting.
It is
Okay.
9.5. Now, this is fun. Their division odds, they are favorites to win the division at -120.
As they should be. I think they're the best team in this division.
To make the playoffs, -215. To miss, +172. To win the Super Bowl, +2,800.
Yeah, I think the Falcons have a lot of intrigue just because of how young they are on offense, and they're adding a veteran quarterback that can kind of calm everybody down.
I also think if you look at Kirk Cousins, whether it's at Washington or whether it's at Vikings, no matter who he's with, I think he's had a really good connection with not only his number 1 receiver, but with the tight end. I've never been on this train, but I see all the memes. This is the year as I redraft Kyle Pitts in the 2nd round. This will be the first year I voice that I believe Kirk to Kyle. There could be something there. I think that this offensive line, the way Kirk demands, the amount of times a play is called and he'll be like, Kyle, just turn right after 7 yards. Or I just think Kyle Pitts may be unlocked with Kirk. Kirk is built for accuracy. He's seen everything in the NFL at this point. He's playing in a dome or a lot of nice weather games at the Raiders dome, at Tampa, Florida, at Panthers in Carolina, at Denver's kind of tough, at Philly, but it's early in the year, at Washington late in the year is kind of tough. But again, at Vikings, road game in a dome again. They're home
Dude,
game,
Kirk, I honest to God, I believe Kirk's another 4K 30-10 guy, and that's fantastic. And he'll be above 67% completion. Like, he'll be himself. Do I think he'll be the elite version of himself? Probably not, but I think he'll be very good.
I like what the Falcons are doing, and they're the first team we've done that's a favorite in their division, and they had the 8th pick in the draft. So
yeah, and they didn't even take a player that's probably going to play. Shows you what a quarterback ad can do, though. Well, we busted out 2 pods tonight. Like I said, if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to the first one, go back, give her a listen. I hope you guys are digging these first 8 teams. We did re-upload our mailbag and QB draft. The QB draft got cut off. There is actually a 10-minute argument where it gets a little heated at the end. Not going to name the quarterbacks, where me and Brad come to a massive disagreement. We'd love to hear the comments on how you feel those quarterbacks are. Hope you guys are digging what we're doing. Brad, you got anything?
Nope. Can't wait for next week as we get to these teams. We get to the cream of the crop sooner. Pod by pod, we're getting through all these teams, and that means football's right around the corner. I know everybody loves that.
Busting out the 2 pods this week, we should be right on pace to start dropping them weekly again. Even with me being on vacation, I plan on doing it right here from my phone, so should be good. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. We're out.
Peace.